Alright, well, since Friday I got rear-ended and I no longer have a trunk on my car and it's completely totaled, I have to save more money to help get a new car, which, luckily it wasn't my fault, so, yay, insurance. Blah, 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 blah. Enough of that, don't worry, I'm okay, post-sore wreck. Or post-wreck being sore and whatnot, but whatever. It is Sunday filming this, so 2 days ago, yeah. So since, I can't really do projects or builds, and because I need to save money to help get a new car, I'm gonna film a bit of this project that I'm working on. I am modding an old Nerf Dart Tag Sharp Fire. Why? Because it looks super dope, and I happen to have it, and I thought, oh hey, let's do that. So, it is taken apart. I've got all the stuff in here. Usually, I'll take a piece of cardboard or something, and I will lay out the screws going, starting from up the top and going clockwise around the blaster. But all the screws in here are the exact same size. Give or take, marginal error and whatnot from manufacturing, but they're all the same size. No major screw length differences. But yeah, got all the parts. Now, first thing I've done is, this is not the stock spring. This is a much heavier spring that I found in my junk bin. And it was a little too long, so I had to clip it off. And the remainder of it actually makes kind of a cool little pinky ring. The next thing I've done to it after that was I actually went and I removed the air restrictors in it. I used a Dremel for that. I left the dart peg just for I wanted the dart peg in there. Now, because this is actually a really heavy spring, playing around and firing it, what happened is, this is the little peg where this peg slots into, and it actually broke off into 3 pieces. I had this front piece right here, broke off first, and then the side piece right here. So all I was left with was this back bit. And what I've done is I took a Dremel and I dremeled it out. This is some 1/4-inch steel tubing, and it fits on those pegs pretty nicely. I think I'm still gonna have to shape them down because they need more room to fit in there, because otherwise it's a really tight fit getting the blaster back together and back apart. And I've glued it, used some Gorilla Glue. I dremeled it out so it would fit in there. I glued this side piece back on, and then I dremeled it out because I hadn't found this other piece, but then I found the other piece, and so I glued it back on after I filed it out so it would fit on here. I glued them all back on. It's a steel tubing. This one goes all the way down to the bottom. This one does not go all the way down to the bottom, as you can probably see in there. I just dremeled it out a little bit and drilled it out just a little bit and just slipped that in there and glued it in. Yeah, that's a reinforcement. It depends. You might not have to do this. This one broke, and so I reinforced both of them to be good. Well, it's because this is a pretty heavy freaking spring. I did not need to upgrade the catch spring on it, which was nice for me. I still might need to reinforce the catch, but we'll cross that road when I come to it. If anything, I'm going to file out the section like right here, just a little bit. I'm going to file out a nice chunk. Not above this bottom piece, but up here. And I'm going to glue in a piece of steel. And yeah, glue in a piece of steel and file it into shape and make it look good, like how it originally was. And if I was to do this, I would probably just glue on some pieces of metal up here on the top or something on the trigger. The next thing I did is I put some Teflon tape, probably about 4 or 5 wraps, underneath the O-ring. You always want to go underneath the O-ring. And you don't want to have too much Teflon tape because it'll just mess up your seal. The next thing I've done is I've actually taken some screws from, I think, a Heartbreaker bow that I cut the tack rail off for another thing, and I put them in, because there's holes in here, I put them in these pegs to to reinforce these pegs. I've almost completely cut through them with a hacksaw. I just wanted to leave them so you could see what they were, was that they're screws. There's also a little air hole. I put a piece of duct tape over it. Now, playing with it earlier, this piece right here, and this is where the catch sits, broke off. And what I've done is I've glued that piece that broke off back in place, and I have reinforced it with a piece of PVC that I glued in place. I'm going to have to file it off on the top to make it level again. But yeah, I'm also going to put some Milliput epoxy putty behind there. I'm probably going to put some around these holes too, or these peg holes. I am also going to take some and put it behind this little catch, which is what, you know, it sits on this. This goes in here. Yeah, this goes in here. This sits behind it, and this is what pulls it back to cock it against the spring. I'm going to put some behind here to reinforce this, and in these little kind of divots in here to reinforce this as well. Because I rather enjoy this blaster and I don't want it to freaking break on me. And as far as that goes, I mean, you know, that's reinforcement. That's it. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint these yellow pieces. I'm going to paint them white. Then I'm going to paint these little sections in the handle white as well. And I think that'll look really cool. I'm going to leave the orange, except for this front piece, which I think I'll paint solid black as well. But I'll leave the little tubes on it orange. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do for this. I'm going to make another little video here in a minute of me putting it back together after I've done everything. So, yeah, I'm going to make another video here in a second.